we are heading back to the Oxford Union. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your sweet Zionist prince, Tall the Traveling Clat. Let's take a look at this clip.
For the proposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, having had my politically correct credentials impugned by the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. KD here, I just want to point out to him that he is out of date on that. I have been reprogrammed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you should subscribe to my channel right now if you believe in what I'm doing, by the way, because we're trying to get to 500,000 subscribers. It would mean the world if you believed in me enough to subscribe. Thank you.
I visited Wadham College about a year ago. And among the other elements of my indoctrination there were that I have to announce my gender pronoun before I begin speaking. So I have decided to opt for the pronoun colonel, which is gender neutral. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion that the Arab world has failed the Palestinian people, I fundamentally disagree with. I'm not sure if it's usual for a speaker for the motion to disagree with it in this House, but I do. And the reason I disagree with it is because it's to say that the Arab world has failed the Palestinian people is like saying the Nazis failed the Jews in the Second World War. Thank you. It's not a matter of failure. What subject do you study?
Law.
Law. To say that a law professor at Oxford failed KD because maybe he neglected to look after his studies, he neglected to identify what kind of topics should be studied and so on to get his degree. That's failing somebody. But what the Arabs have done, what the Arab countries collectively have done, and what the Palestinian leadership have done, is far worse than failure. It is betrayal. It's betrayal, it's abuse, it's using them as cannon fodder. It's turning them from being decent, ordinary human beings, wanting to prosper, wanting to have freedom, wanting to live in peace in their territory, into being simply weapons of war in a century-long war between the Arab world and the Jewish national homeland. And they have been these benighted Palestinian people. And I know many of them. I've seen their suffering. I've spoken to them. I've witnessed their suffering firsthand. They have been cast off and abused. They are simply bullets to be fired from an Arab gun. How have the Arabs abused the Palestinians? Well, since the creation of the State of Israel and before, going right the way back to the Balfour Declaration, the Arabs and then subsequently the Palestinian leadership, when Palestine was invented as a people, as a potential country, the Palestinian leaders have rejected every single opportunity to create a self-governing homeland for the Palestinian people within the former mandate of Palestine. And that goes right back to their rejection in 1917 of the Balfour Declaration. And it includes, coming right up to date, it includes they didn't even reject President Obama's initiative, they simply walked away from it before it got anywhere. And they haven't only rejected the current US administration's initiative, they've rejected it without even hearing what it is. And this has been the pattern all the way through, a pattern of rejection and denial of any possibility of rights for the Palestinian people beyond what they have now. I want to illustrate that. I want to just read from a couple of quotes from the horse's mouth. And the first one, this is from Emil Ghouri, the secretary of the Arab Higher Committee, who said, "I do not want to impugn anyone, but only to help the refugees. The fact that there are these refugees is the direct consequences of the action of the Arab states in opposing partition and the Jewish state. The Arab states agreed upon this policy unanimously, and they must share in the solution of the problem." Ralph Galloway, the former director of UNRWA, said the Arab states do not want to solve the refugee problem. They want to keep it as an open sore, as an affront to the United Nations, and as a weapon against Israel. Arab leaders don't give a damn whether the refugees live or die. This has been the pattern of rejection. And the Arab countries, and now the Palestinian Authority and Hamas, do not want a two-state solution. They're not interested in a two-state solution. They're interested in one thing only, and that is the destruction of the Jewish state, the dismantling and the destruction of the Jewish state. And again, the lack of support for a Palestinian state, well back in history and today, can be seen from these two quotes. First of all, the Secretary General of the Arab League, Abdul Rahman Azam, said, "Transjordan was to swallow up the central hill regions of Palestine with access to the Mediterranean at Gaza. The Egyptians would get the Negev, the Galilee would go to Syria, except for the coastal part as far as Akka would be added to Lebanon." So they were talking about carving this precious Palestinian national homeland up. It was never a consideration that they would actually establish a Palestinian national homeland. And President Nasser of Egypt said, "The Palestinians are useful to the Arab states. As they are, we will always see that they do not become too powerful." Can you imagine yet another nation on the shores of the Eastern Mediterranean? It has been the pattern. No two states, no liberation or freedom from the current situation that the Palestinians face at any stage. They have forced conflicts upon the Palestinians. The Arab nations since 1948 have sent armies into the land to attempt to annihilate the Jewish state. And that, of course, has brought death and destruction and suffering upon the Palestinians as well. And since then, they have imposed and inflicted and supported and funded and directed terrorism against the Jews by the Palestinians. And that has been going on for a long time and continues today. It continues today in Gaza, from the Gaza border, and in the West Bank, and in other parts of Israel. And where is this funded from? From the greatest state supporter of terrorism in the world, Iran, and from Qatar, of course, the Arab country. So this is a continuing problem. I have been there on the Gaza border. I've watched the suffering and the violence which has been attracted to the area by the Palestinian people, by Hamas, in effect. The West has a role in this. The West, with its greed and its lust for oil, has appeased the Arab countries and encouraged them. And we, by supporting this motion today, even though I don't agree with it, I think we are making a statement. And that statement is, we will no longer appease and support your retribution against the Palestinians. If this situation continues any further, then as has happened in the past, the only people to suffer, Israel is not going to suffer as a result of this. The only people that will suffer are the Palestinians. They will continue to suffer. And I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to get behind this motion and make your voice heard against the continued suffering of the Palestinian people. Thank you very much indeed.
It's absolutely clear as day that the Arab world has used the Palestinians as their pawns. Also, the Palestinians have an element of responsibility to take into play here as well. They feed into, I mean, they're not, I hate infantilizing Palestinians, and I think we all fall into that often. They're just these helpless people. Do this generally with people in the Middle East and with Arabs. They're just like, oh, they're just helpless, backwards cave people who can't fend for themselves. It's like, no. These are highly intelligent people. Palestinians are very, very capable people here in Israel with the proper opportunity. They become doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and they engineers, and they work in high positions in the army and they're in the government. It's not that they can't apply themselves, but under an Arab supremacist system, they are incapable of applying themselves because they are oppressed. They're oppressed by themselves and they're oppressed by their neighboring Arab brothers and sisters. The longer we allow Palestinians to live in this facade that they are truly Arab Muslims and part of the ancient ancestry of Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, the longer we're all going to keep suffering. Palestinians need to unlock their true identity, which is the fact that they probably have no relation or very little relation to actual Arabs, and they are Arabized. And the further they get away from the Arab world, I truly believe the faster they'll be able to take on a new identity and actually progress towards peaceful living. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you a long time. Goodbye, class.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, or you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.